Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you're all safe and doing well. Today's session is based on expanding your chatbot capabilities with Watson Assistant and Video. With me, I have Khalil Faraj, who is a developer advocate based in UAE, and we have a guest speaker who is also an IBM champion and AI chatbot architect. His name is Rangana, and my name is Mridul Bhandari. I'm also a developer advocate based in Dubai. And on the screen, you can see the link to sign up for the IBM Cloud account. This will be shared in the chat, so you can get started with it. So moving on. So for this is today's housekeeping. So just to get you familiarized with the Crowdcast platform, on the top you can see the title of the webinar, and then we have IBM Developer. So you can click on follow to keep you can keep getting updates and notifications about our latest webinars and workshops which we are conducting. So you can click on the follow button and you can get notified about the upcoming events. And then we have the chat section. So if you have any queries or any doubts, you can just reach out to us and you can just put in your chat questions over here and we will try to answer them as quickly as we can. And in case you have some questions and you want to ask them, you can just ask them in the Q&A session. That is, ask a question. So you can put up the questions over there and we will try to respond to that as soon as possible. And next, we have a green button which says workshop resources. So when you click on that, it will redirect you to the GitHub repository where today's content has been stored. There's also a link over there. All the links are listed over there, so you can access the workshop slides and the various sign up links and from the README document over there. So this is about the Crowdcast platform. So moving on. So you are you looking to put your tech skills to a good use and try to build something which can help solve the global challenge, global problems faced by the world today? You can participate in the Call for Code challenge. You can try to build your product and you can try to help the community and it would be of social good and it would help you put your ideas to action. So Call for Code is the grand prize for Call for Code is $200,000. So you can sign up on the link developer.ibm.com/call for code and you can start working on your projects. So the theme this year is climate change, and you can start building your products around that. And you can propose your ideas, and you can register on this link which is shown on your screen. And this will be shared in the chat section with you. Okay, moving on. So today's agenda. So first, what you're going to do is you're going to go over what are chatbots, and we're going to go over some use cases and the roadmap, and then we're going to go on what are voice bots, and then we're going to understand what is video. Then we're going to see some speech to text and text to speech capabilities from IBM. And then we have Rangana, who will be sharing his experience building chatbots during his career. And he's going to share what was his experience and how they managed to build more architecture. And they were able to solve some of the greatest challenges faced by his organization. And then we'll be talking about Watson Assistant. And then we'll be going over through hands-on, which will be conducted by Khalil. And that's the agenda for today. So moving on. So what are chatbots? So chatbots are like a software application and they're used to conduct an online chat conversation via text or text to speech in lieu of providing direct contact with live human agent. So it is a type of software that can automate conversations and interact with people through messaging platforms. So during the past year or even before that, you might have experienced, you might have called these helpline agents and customer agents and try to get your query sorted for various products you are using or various services you're using. So you must have come across, on the websites, you might have come across these chatbots on the side where you could put up your question, get them answered. So chatbots are mainly used to replace customer service by companies so as to scale up and answer more and more queries for customers. And they are done through mobile applications or messaging applications integrated with your Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp or any other messaging application or some other mobile applications that they particularly have, or even through telephone lines. So if you're calling on some helpline number, you would have a automated voice agent who would be directing you towards the various options available and getting your query sorted. So moving on. So within chatbots have evolved continuously. You have seen there's been evolution of a lot of chatbots over the time. So they have exponentially and dynamically increased in their capabilities. So that can be broadly so chatbots can be broadly categorized in three types. So one is the rule based and the button chatbots, and the next is the keyword recognition chatbot, also known as the smart chatbots. And the last, we have contextual chatbot, which is also known as hybrid chatbots. So, what are rule-based or button or slash simple chatbots? They are the simplest form of chatbots available out there, and they're based on decision trees. As they are the simplest form, they have limited capabilities, and they are very task specific. uh, you can think of them IVRs on chat. So this means that the bot poses questions based on predetermined options, and the customer can choose from the options until they get the answers to the query. The chatbot will not make any inferences from its previous interactions. These chatbots are best suited for straightforward dialogues, and they're very simple to build and train. So an example for this would be a chatbot to order a pizza. So when a customer interacts with a chatbot to order pizza, the flow of conversation is basically set. So just like an operator asks for your order over the phone, the chatbot will pose questions in the same way, starting from the size of the pizza to the crust, toppings, and the amount of cheese. And it will then request the address and the payment method. So these steps are logical and only requires the customer to click through and complete their order. Next, we have keyword recognition chatbot or smart chatbots. So they are AI-enabled chatbots, uh, smart chatbots, and they're designed to simulate near-human interactions with customers. You can have free-flowing conversations, and they can understand the intent, language, and sentiment. So these chatbots, they require programming to help it understand from various contexts of interactions, and they are much harder to implement than the rule-based button or simple chatbots. And they execute and they need a lot of data to learn and execute. Now, an example for this would be your virtual assistants on your phone or your laptops or desktops. So, for example, like Siri, or you have Microsoft Cortana, or the Google Home or Amazon Alexa. So, all these are examples of smart chatbots. They're virtual assistants, and they're just a modified version of smart chatbots, and they learn from every human interaction. It can also engage in small talk, which is an added benefit of smart chatbots. While smart chatbots are trained to give most relevant response with the help of an open domain source, they learn best by collecting information in real time. And they try to build a bot. They try to go to an extent to which they can work sa- uh, consecutively. The responses keep coming, so that's why they require a lot of data to train. So they have been, they keep training and keep learning from the user itself, and they are also can be integrated within your web applications. Next, we have the contextual chatbots or the hybrid chatbots. So they are a combination of simple and smart chatbots, and they are, like they are a combination of both the extremes in the chatbot spectrum. So they will constantly need for a simple chatbot to be smarter and smarter chatbots to be simpler. So that is why these hybrid chatbots were conceptualized. So they try to meet the middle ground, and they have some rule-based tasks, and they try to understand the intent and the context also. And it becomes a very balanced tool for businesses to interact with customers. Now, example for these hybrid chatbots would be medical diagnosis chatbots. So customers require help with medical diagnosis, they require they want to have something as a flow and a mix of understanding the language and the intent or the sentiment behind those words, the input they're giving in. So they would be able to voice their health related questions, and the bot can narrow it down to possible conditions by asking for symptoms in a rule based format. And visitors will be able to go back and forth and choose from different options and give more details until the bot narrows down on their condition and prescribes the remedies for the same. So moving on, why use chatbots? So we went over through what are chatbots and what are the types of chatbots, but why do we actually need them? So the thing is, they increase the accessibility as compared to the customer service or an agent talking through the customer, as they are always available. So if you see when you call the helpline number and if there's an agent talking, there's a certain duration, of work hours which you can call within. It can be 9 to 6 or 8 to 5 or 8 to 8. So you're supposed to stick to that timeline. But with chatbots, you can access them 24/7. So they're always available on the website and they can be accessed at any time. And you can from anywhere also. You don't need to require a SIM card or something. If you just have an internet connection, you can just access the website and you can go ahead and you can type in a query. And next is the capacity. So last year we were in this unprecedented situation of the pandemic, and when a lot of companies had trouble dealing with the queries that were coming in to use the products and services while staying indoors, and they wanted to get access to it. So now, in order to answer these questions, get these queries sorted, customers used to call these helpline numbers, and they used to wait in line, and they used to still not get a chance to speak to the agent because there would be a lot of calls and there would be a waiting line, they would be placed and they would be lower in the order. And this would waste a lot of time for both the agent, for the company, and for the consumer. So because of this, chatbots are they can accommodate to any capacity. So they can answer to how many customers, consumers, they, reaching out to them, and they can answer them simultaneously. Like I can, if I'm asking a chatbot something, Khalil can also parallelly ask, or Rangna can also parallelly ask. So they don't have to, for me to, get done with the chatbot. It can be simultaneously used by multiple people. So the capacity of a chatbot to deal, to help in dealing is way more than an agent. So it's the capacity is, as to conclude, the capacity is way more than humans. So this is very useful. Then it's platform agnostic. So again, as I take an example of calling these helplines, so you'll have to call this particular number. You'll have to find out the number. You'll have to call to that number, and you can only it can be sometimes it's a number which can be only accessed by mobile SIM card. You can only call from mobile, not from landlines. Or if it's a toll free number, you can call it and you can keep talking. Or sometimes they're charged. So you have to pay to talk to these agents also. But being platform agnostic, it can be accessed from anywhere, free of cost, and from any platform. Like it could be a web application, a website, a mobile application, or even the helpline numbers. You can call them and they can be connected to a voice bot, and you could be getting your query sorted. Next, you have the customer insights. So while agents can help you answer the queries and help you narrow it down, they cannot provide the same level of insights which program can provide or which the software could provide, because they're constantly collecting data. So they're trying to sort out what questions the most asked ones, what are the troubles most consumers are dealing with right now, and they can help you the company or the product or the service understand what sort of a query which the customer most has doubts with. So by providing insights, it helps them improve their customer service over time. It can help you also put these frequently asked questions on the website, or put them as a message, or an initial display as a display message before we start dealing with the chatbot. If you're dealing for this query, you can just do this. That way, that also reduces the load on the consumer on the chatbot. Then we have customer satisfaction. Now, as I already mentioned, that you'll have to wait a lot in line while calling to this on these numbers, and you'll be a lot of waiting line, and you're constantly trying to wait for your chance to speak to the agent. So the customer satisfaction is much higher while using a chatbot, because customers can access it any time with a decent internet connection or mobile data package, and they could go ahead, access, and get the query sorted, and they don't have any waiting time from the product, or from the product itself, or from the company itself. It's they can just go ahead and get it sorted, and as soon as they put the question, they'll get an answer to it very quickly. So customer satisfaction is much higher while using a chatbot than a helpline. And cost effective. So chatbots are much more cost effective. So like as I mentioned, last year when there were a lot of queries coming in from consumers, you had the companies had to increase the number of agents to deal with it. So now this while increasing the number of agents, this also increases the cost for the company, and you don't know for how long the situation would last. So while agents while people might go ahead and call these helplines and get the query sorted, it is not very cost effective for the company to hire these many number of agents. So chatbots, they are very cost effective in this manner. Like, if you're a consumer, if the number of users increase, you do not increase the number of chatbots. It's one single chatbot that is dealing with a large number of customers, and it gets a lot of more data to learn from also. So it's constantly improving over time. So it's not only cost effective, it's also growing with along with repeated usage. And then we have work automation. So as these are software programs, they can easily be automated. And you can go ahead and you can as I mentioned, you have these rule based chatbots. So you can easily automate the flow, whereas with an agent you might not be able to do so. So the advantage that would decrease the time a consumer spends while dealing with an agent and get his answers to queries really fast. So the work automation is also an advantage while using chatbots. So moving on. So what is the roadmap to build a chatbot? So we have understood what are chatbots, what are types of chatbots, and what are the advantages of using them. But what is the roadmap to build one? So first and foremost, understand your audience, know your audience, understand what sort of queries they have, what sort of product you're building, and what sort of queries they have related to that product. So you need to understand your audience and what they exactly want. So before you go ahead, you should always understand your audience. If you have a existing customer service, try to understand the questions that are coming in. You can do a survey among the agents, or you could collect the data of what are queries are coming on the emails also. So you can always collect all this data and you can understand your audience. So this is the first and foremost. So that way you can what sort of, you can understand how to start with and what your chatbot is supposed to focus on. Sometimes it could you don't need to go for a hybrid chatbot. It might be very complicated to build compared to the simple or the keyword recognition chatbots. You can just go with a simple chatbot, and that might be able to solve the problem your audience is facing or your consumers are facing. Next, keep your goal specific. So as I mentioned, when you understand your audience, you kind of it helps you define the goal which you're trying to focus on. So that will you can make an objective what you're trying to achieve. So if you're like pizza, if you're a cafeteria or which is delivering pizza or any other food product, you know what sort of a flow that consumer what flow it should follow. What is the item, what are the toppings, what are the amount of cheese for a pizza, and what are the sides they require, or if drinks, yes, and if yes, then what are the drinks they want. So to understand this, you should understand your audience, and that will help you define your goal. So when you keep your goal specific, that will help you understand what sort of a chatbot you want to build, whether it can be a simple chatbot, uh, keyword recognition chatbot, or a hybrid chatbot or contextual chatbot. So know your audience, and then that will help you define your goal, and that will help you go to the next step, that is keep your goal specific. And once you understood the goal and you understood your audience, you try designing conversation workflows for examples, so that you can understand more on how your chatbot should function, or what sort of help your chatbot is providing. So this will help you filter down a lot of unnecessary information which your consumer might not require, and will help you also target find what necessary information is required. So you can decide, sometimes some information might be irrelevant to the consumer and some information might be, and you can miss out on the irrelevant information. So try to design these conversations workflow, so that you can understand what is relevant and what is not, and visualize user conversations. So try to think of it as if the consumer is dealing with an agent itself, who is through a chatbot. So that's how the chatbot should feel, as if the consumer is just talking to agent and he's directing it to them, because most people prefer talking to another human, because they feel their queries will get it sorted faster, or they'll get the specific answer which they require. So try to visualize your user conversations. That will help you understand. That will help the audience, the consumer, feel as if he's talking to an agent, and that will make it more user friendly. And the UI and UX is more simple and easy to use. So more and more people tend to use your chatbot. They tend to they can get their query sorted there, and they'll easily get their query sorted out also. And this will lead to better customer satisfaction for your product itself. So moving on. Okay. So what are voice bots? So we have talked about chatbots. So how are they different from voice bots? So voice bots are just voice powered user interfaces that can understand natural language and use it to converse with people. If you simply put it, they are computers that converse uh, like people. So they are chatbots with added voice ability. So that's all voice bots are. They're nothing something very different. They are just an added integration on your existing chatbot, like voice integration. And they are classified in two categories: either text to speech bots or they're only voice only bots. So the virtual assistants we use in our phone are they are voice only bots. So you can I can say, hey Siri, hey Cortana, or hey Google Home, or anything, hey Google, and I can start the voice assistant, and it'll start working for me. So it's activated through my voice. And they also, if any answer is given, they will if there's any answer to the query which I've asked, they would read out the answer to me. So I don't have to pick up my phone or type it down, or read it out. It reads out to me. So these are the type of voice bots which we have already been using. Yeah, Khalil, can you move to the next slide? So we have understood what are voice bots and why should we use voice bots now? What are the advantages of using voice bots? So they have less friction. So there's a speed in integration. So these integrations between clients and companies can be faster. They can because there's no touch required. So as there's no touch required, I can just while continuing my existing activity, I can just use this chatbot. There'll be less there won't be a requirement for me to pick up the phone and type down my query. I can just ask it by just saying activating it by saying the keyword, and then it would take in my query. So there's less friction and it's easy to use. uh, all text, no voice chatbots are mechanical. So this is something that might have come across your mind or while dealing with these chatbots. So when you're dealing with these chatbots which have a flow, they're mechanical. So you feel as if you're just answering a survey form, or just answering selecting some options. So it's very mechanical, and this might be boring for your customers also. So this by having voice bots, you can bring innovation to the customers. So this can improve your chat solution, and you can make a product more competitive in the commercial market. The most innovative products as a rule are always, they generate curiosity, and curiosity brings in more potential customers to your company. So more people will tend to use your service, or the voice bot, to understand how it works, and to see how it feels while using it, and how easily it sorts out your queries, or it helps you deal with the service. Then listening is more engaging than reading long text. So audiobooks are gaining a lot of popularity, and if you've seen, because it's very easy to use. So same goes with voice pods. So I could, if for me to read a book, I need to maintain a correct posture, and to keep be in a correct light, or I need to sit in a place where there's an adequate amount of light coming in while reading, so I'm able to read. So this can be very this could be a lot of work required from my side. So while using audiobooks, so you can always lie in your bed, and you can listen to a book, or you can just close your eyes, relax, sleep, and you could be listening to an audiobook. So you're basically getting the same thing to a different sense. Instead of using your eyesight, you're using your ears. So same way, uh, with voice bots, they're more engaging than chatbots, because I don't need to take out my phone and type down a query. I can just activate it by a voice command, and it could help me help. I could start a conversation with my voice bot. And regular activities have become uncomplicated with voice bots. So you might have seen many advertisements where all these virtual assistants were being advertised. The people were using them simultaneously while doing some other activity. So while using chatbots, it could be a hindrance to me. I could have to take my phone or my laptop and type down the query I have. But with voice bots, I can just be driving. I can say, hey Siri, can you call this person for me, or can you send a SMS for me to this person. And I don't have to stop the activity I'm continuing. I could do this along with the activity I have. It can help me multitask. So these are some advantages of using voice bots over chat bots. So moving on, what is Twilio? So Twilio is a cloud communications platform. It's a platform as a service company, and it aims to provide communication apps, and help you build integrate communication APIs within your platform, within your applications. So it tries to provide a link between the internet and the telecom networks. So a lot of time you might have been using as SMS app, trying to integrate SMS applications in your applications, or some, and you're trying to integrate, and you're trying to communicate with the it's tough to get integrated with your telecom operator. But with Twilio, this problem gets sorted. You can easily go ahead, you can integrate their APIs, which will help you connect to your telecom networks, and you can have a SMS sent to your phone by your application which you're built on your own. And it helps you these simple services which are integrated, and easily you can easily go ahead and integrate within your applications. And it also helps you add capabilities like voice, video, and messaging to applications. So you can go ahead and integrate all these sort of added integrations to your applications by using Twilio APIs. So moving on. So what is we mentioned about voice bots, and we mentioned about text to speech and speech to text. So IBM has its own offering of IBM Watson speech to text. And what is Watson speech to text? So IBM Watson speech to text, it gives you a brand, a voice, and it enables you to improve your customer experience and engagement by interacting with users in their own languages, and it can be written in any text. And this increases the accessibility for users with different abilities, and it provides audio options to avoid distracted driving, and it can also automate your customer service interactions to increase efficiencies. So it provides powerful and real-time speech synthesis. You can convert written text to natural sounding speech using natural speech synthesizing techniques. You can create custom voices, so you can create a uniquely branded voice that can your users can get adapted to, and you can have them. This can be done by having choose from hours of recording which is available out there, and then you can maintain and control the ownership of the data. So none of the data is collected, and you can go ahead and you can use this keep the ownership of the data, and you can create insights from this data which is collected also. And yeah, so moving on. So we have IBM Watson text to speech. Oh, so this helps you, enhance your customer experience with AI-powered speech recognition and transcription. So it can help you enable fast and accurate speech transcriptions in multiple languages for a variety of use cases. And it's not included, but just not limited to customer self-service. But it can also provide, agent assistant, speech analytics, and various other features. So you can go ahead and use the various machine learning, models out of the box and customize them for your use case. Yeah. Moving on. So next we have guest speaker Rangana, who's going to be sharing his experience of working with various chatbots, and he's going to show us what architecture he has used, and he's going to see how it simplified the problems his team was facing using using chatbots and voice bots. So over to you, Rangana.
Hi everyone, I'm Rangana Gunatilaka. I'm the Operation Excellence Head and the founder of OpenSPLINT. Previously, it was called Splint when we operate with Emirates and with my colleagues. Now, it's a great opportunity to be here with the IBM team, and plus it's great to share the experience with these nice, wonderful products and how it helped us as field support engineers, and basically how to get these products live. That was the it's a long story, but I'm trying to make it very simple for you. So from Emirates, we operate as support engineers. By that time, 5 years ago, supporting customers. So we had repeated queries, visitors to us, sometimes based on the problem, based on the fault customers. Uh, we understood the customers' interest, and the experience was fluctuating. Even though we have enough resources, even though we have and plus say tools and everything. So with the time, with the Splint, we provided a platform to my colleagues to learn new technologies, and we found Watson Assistant as the first next step for our customer service role, where we always interact with customers, we learn their problems, we empathize their pain. So it continued. We learn about data science, and we learn about products with IBM. Why IBM is because IBM gave us education platform, learn about these products along with the knowledge. So it was quite easy for us, even though we were not developers by that time. I learned these technologies and deploy them on test platforms. So it didn't stop there. I saw my colleagues continuously creating prototypes, sharing with other colleagues who are willing to join us. The team became a crib in 20, meaning started from 5, and it um, ended with 22. So the story goes on like that, and then I found the uh, advocates around us who were supporting us, the business leaders, the stakeholders of these business units in Emirates, had issues which needs to be invested highly outside the market, contacting vendors, getting huge projects, spending billions of dollars. So this value helped, the value of Splint helped to address this area using the existing resources, and plus the interest and colleagues' uh, inspirations towards emerging technologies. So thanks to IBM for that. So I can share with you now two prototypes which we brought up to the productionization standard, and which we got a buy-in from the leaders of the units. So let me go through the one of the interesting chatbots. Uh, with our showcase, we were offered the first chatbot to address 70 to 70 percent of the calls received by the call center is being escalated. So going through that, to reduce the cost, it is understood to reduce it, the escalation, reduce these escalations to maximum of 30%. So that was the study done by the management. So we addressed this matter, and we got this as an opportunity, huge opportunity, to get one Watson assistant trained, address all these common pain points, experiences with the call center, work with the team, call center team. So we had a collaboration with other teams, and it's so we started addressing these issues. So escalation was one of the issues. Handling transfer to human agents, when to transfer to human agents was the second problem, because we can create one rule-based chatbots, which uh, you just got to know short time before, how these rule-based works, and regards to this chatbot. What happened was, we have to create these boundaries, these problem which was existing, transferring to each and every team. It's going round robin, and the problem, it takes time to get the problem resolved. So we resolved this issue from this chatbot. finding out, being fair to the customer, empathize these issues, balanced, because there's no bias in it. Normally, there was an identified issue with agent bias. Agent bias actually based on the individual with the autonomy he works, or he or she works with this will. So that was addressed clearly with this chatbot for the call center. So the next problem was actually to add support different time zones. So we have different teams in different to UAE and for outstation. So how that works? So all these issues were resolved by one of our the first chatbot. We name it Lexi. Uh, Saying the name Lexi was inspired by one of the leaders, team leaders of one of the business units. So naming also will be is taking some very significant role in this productionization. So it's better always, if you are in a developer team who are going to uh, train the chatbot or voice assistant, it's great to get the name from the business, so uh, it will your name along with the problem will blend properly. That is one. Though, so this Lexi had significant uh, characteristics: natural language processing, speed, mobility for roaming agents, and seamless updates. So transfer to SME was another significant thing. Uh, Transfer to agents, that means when suppose actually this issue, this feature came while we are developing the chatbot, because when we started, we got the problem statement, but to resolve, when while we are working on the upcoming iterations with the teams, we found out 70 to 30% we can get it. More than that, going beyond it, it could be 20%. So with the business interest, we worked on a model where we based on understanding the problem of the customer and pass it to relevant SMEs. So that worked really well. Even for field support, it goes to when the phone call received from the customer, based on the area of and the skill, it even passes to the field support. So getting somebody while on the phone, getting somebody to the desk, or approach via different media was something very significant, and it was really appreciated. So there is one more point to add. Tuvilio did a amazing job. Um, First of all, we created all in text, and that was the first phase of deployment of this prototype. Second phase was getting on a voice. That was really appreciated, and uh, let us go to the next phase. So it's all about Lexi. You can see my team. This is the startup team for Splint, and the guys who really work hard for it, who learned about new technologies. So it's the live example for you. I can see most of the joiners today, the viewers today, are professionals, and even students. I can see it's a good example that you don't have to be a very hardcore programmer or inspired, very experienced person to be a chatbot developer. It's a very good example. You just need your interest, and plus a platform like IBM to get yourself to a certain level and get yourself into professional criteria. Going through the second one, this is a very significant one, another one. Top of all these prototypes we created, it's the airport. Like most of you, I believe, some of you from Dubai. Most of you must be traveling several months ago. It could be now we are waiting for travel. So this addressed, and this application helped a problem of the customer service agents in the airport. You must have experienced, you go and ask from the check-in agent, can I use this service, can I go to this launch, why cannot I use this particular credit card for the launch. So that for that they had to make a call to the launch, ask this is available or not. So it was really hitting the passengers check-in and flying experience. So this was identified by the launch managers and the leaders in that department, because I was talking about our chatbots, showing about Watson Assistant, what it can do, along with Discovery and Knowledge Studio. I got the buying to do a chatbot. So there's a huge story behind it. Let me make it short. We had to find a name. They asked us to find a name for it. So one of the advocates for Splint explained it's better to go as a Tomo. Tomo, you can see just below down is um, it's a mouse who always go and pick up things the way it interested. And plus, Tomo in Japanese is as a friend. So that's how the name comes in. That's how the character builds in. So we just did not create one chatbot with the rules or anything. We have to create that character. So that was something significant, because when you work with teams who are used to experience these services, they are the experts on it. So we are going to help them to get their problem resolved. So telling more about Tomo, address this issue of agents who are trying to find the information, correct information, in a bit of meaning the quickest way possible, and plus it addressed a lot of more. So let me explain how it addressed it. So what they do, the passengers, they go and ask from normally from a launch or any customer service unit in airport, ask about any question. Mostly they don't know, it's an airport, so airport has a lot of documentations, a lot of information, and it's getting updated each and every time. So how Tomo addressed is, uh, Tomo could pick up the information and the relevant passages from the data repository, where we let the back office update these manuals to let all these agents refer. So earlier it was in SharePoint. Tomo brought into one chatbot window. So suppose somebody goes and asks this question about any particular credit card. If there is a particular phrase to the credit card, it shows in. So that was the way it started, and it became more intuitive. So that and plus there was another significant problem which was resolved while we are developing it, while we are training Tomo, because when an agent when an agent goes on leave, there could be some new agents coming into the desk to make it more agile. So there has to be trained, there has to be briefed. But that problem also resolved, because all these documents are available with Tomo. Tomo brings the relevant information seamlessly, and even it is seamlessly updates, even it is updates in minutes at the back end. So that's about Tomo's uh, uh, capabilities. And plus it could support even roaming agents. You can see, suppose you are in the duty free area and you want to find some information, and you want to find a gate. So you can ask from any of the, normally we just see somebody who's in customer service, we go and ask. I have faced, even a lot of people have faced, uh, sometimes they said you don't know, but they somehow find the information. Yes, of course, it's based, that's the way they are trained, and they're good in doing their job as a human. But to get them empowered, that's the skill of Tomo. Tomo is not going to replace someone, but to empower the staff. So even other chatbots, that's our goal, to empower the staff. So the mobile agents easily could pick up a tablet, ask about this question, get this relevant information accurately, and could assist. So that's how these two chatbots helped to resolve the problems which was pain points to the customers and even for the staff. So going through that, I would love to share with you something which you will face the uh, when you go for deployment. So you can see on top the cloud area, there are three segments in it. In the left, you can see public network. In the middle, cloud network, and the right side, you can see the network of the enterprise. So you might see something which is not relevant, but let me go through, take you through it. So basically, you will work on Watson Assistant to get your data. You will work on discovery to make it more intuition. You will use Knowledge Studio. Could be more than that, but Tone Analyzer will help Watson Assistant to understand the mood of the customer. So when we have this prototype on top, you can see speech to text, text to speech, all things are ready. But it's not an environment like we have at home. It's an environment already running, very stable. I'm not only talking about Emirates. Most of the enterprises, even some small business, very stable. They have very stable networks. But there are we have to honor the existing, complement the existing teams who are having these rules. But from our end to go and deploy, it's us to go and or meet these teams who are safeguarding this enterprise edge services. If you talk about towards left, the public, suppose the staff or customer who's trying to get this service, chatbot service, will have to go through a main enterprise edge service or a gateway. So you can see out of that, you can see the Twilio, and Twilio is getting connected, or if not Twilio, something else. But here you can see these components and external APIs, how it's getting connected to edge service. So you will have to go through each and every um, uh, endpoint, if I call it endpoint, how to get it released and how you convince. So we did all that. That's amazing experience and a journey. We got a huge support from Cloud Tech, IBM Cloud Tech, with Naiyarah and the team. And going through that, a lot of support from internally from Emirates to get this deployed. I to At final, you can see top of everything, the governance and the security matters. So sometimes you might have the best product you have created with your team, but when you go through these channels, believe me, it's going to be, your product is going to be more refined, and it's going towards perfection. So earlier, the first stage, when we face these barriers, we felt it as barriers, but later on we understood those are opportunities. Each and every stopper will be an opportunity, because next time when you go, your product has already all these compliances ready, and your product intuition, everybody will accept based on all these releases and the compliance you have created with your product. So I'm passing this to Khalil.
Thank you, Ragana, so much for sharing your amazing experience, and we're glad to see how IBM Watson Services empowered you and your team to build these amazing solutions.
All right. Thank you.
So I'll be sharing my screen so we can proceed. Okay. All right. So now we want to move to the hands-on part, but before doing that, we just want to spend some 5 minutes explaining what Watson Assistant is and how it mainly works. So basically, Watson Assistant is a solution that will allow us to build chatbots using in a way that can understand natural language input. And to do that, it mainly uses machine learning to respond to the customers in a way that can stimulate a conversation between humans normally. So the way it works is basically there are three main components. Now, the first one is called intents. And intents are basically, these are things that the user intends to ask for the assistant. So let's say, for example, if we want to build an assistant for a bank, some intent question can be about opening hours. So in this case, a user example could be, what time do you open, or what are your opening hours? These kind of examples or user examples can define an intent. Like in this case, it was opening hours. Now, another component is entities. And these are a bit of more keywords, so they can be words and objects, and they can define a bit of a more advanced context to the user's question. Let's take this time another example about a cupcakery restaurant, a cupcakery shop, sorry. Now we can have a lot of different flavors. So in this case, we can maybe provide an entity that's called flavors, and where we can have chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry, and any other kind of flavors. And we can use these different flavors to kind of define more context in our chat. We will see later on how this can be done in a quick example. But these are more, like, as I said, example keywords that can define a bit of a more context. Now, last we have the most important part, which is the dialogue, and this is basically where we are building the entire thing. So it's like a puzzle. We have some different nodes. This will help us to define the conversational flow using the intents and the entities that we have defined. So let's say this example. The way Watson Assistant works is we have different nodes that needs to be triggered. So the way it works is we need to define an intent to this node. So in the first example, node 1, if we meet a specific condition, so we'll go here and we'll give the response. And usually these conditions can be either intents or entities. So if this node here understand that the user is asking about opening hours, then go to this condition and reply with whatever is being defined here. Sometimes as well, we can, not sometimes, most of the times, we need to get a bit more advanced, and we tend to add child nodes. So we can kind of have a subflow in the entire dialogue that we have. But these are for more advanced cases. But the main thing here is to understand that to be able to trigger a node, we can just give it a condition and we'll define a reply to it. And the assistant will automatically know that we are asking the specific question, which is defined in this node, and this node has this specific response. So let's give it to the user. Now here we have, again, let's go back to our cupcakery example. And in this case, we want to kind of check the type of the cupcakes. So we're going to our first node. Here the user is asking about the cupcake menu, right? So then it's going to the response defined here is, do you want regular or gluten-free cupcakes? So we'll need to choose either if it's regular or gluten-free. Now gluten-free or regular, these are entities, right? So these are keywords defined in an entity, and we can use these to provide a bit more context. So in this case, if it was gluten-free, then we'll go ahead and give him this specific response. So we have gluten-free vanilla cupcakes that everyone loves. If not, we'll just regular. We'll say that we offer cupcakes in vanilla mocha and red velvet flavors. So here we are using entities to give a bit more context, to give some more details about the information, so we can make the assistant more smarter. Now there are some more additional stuff that the assistant has, but these are again for more advanced cases, like slots, context variable, and jump. So slots are a way where the assistant is going to ask the user for additional information. A great example for this is a restaurant reservation. Let's say you want to book an appointment, you want to book a table at a specific restaurant. So the assistant in this case will ask you, all right, so for how many number do you want? How many number are coming with you? What's your phone number? Under which name do we need to book this appointment? So it will ask these questions, and the user will start answering them. And in a real world example, maybe we have a database that's connected to this assistant. So the assistant will take these answers from the user and will send them to a database where it will book his appointment there and save the information. So to do that, it's going to use context variable. So these are the values that we can define across nodes. So in this case, the phone number that the assistant asks for the user, the number of people that are coming with him, his name, these are all can be stored in context variable that we can pass later on to anything else, in this case to our database, for example. And there is a jump. So this is in case you want this help in designing the flow. So if we're in a specific node and you're answering a specific answer, and this answer we can go a bit in more detail, we can jump to another node within it. So this is kind of how we can navigate from node to a node. But no need to worry about that. So let's start with our code lab. If you haven't registered yet, this is the link to sign up. ibm.biz/w WA. I believe my colleague will be sharing these on the chat. And we have the hands-on that we'll be using. So this is, the tutorial that we're doing. You can access anytime you want. And you can see below the screen the workshop resources that we'll be using. So if you click on this link, we will go to our GitHub repository that has everything. So let me go to that. So this will be our GitHub repository. Now, I want to just explain more about our use case. So what we're doing is we will not be focusing a lot on the Watson Assistant itself. Like we'll not be covering the slots and the context variables. We're just we'll be doing a very basic example. It will be a COVID-19 chatbot that answers very simple questions with dummy data, like for example, price of the COVID test or what are the main symptoms, stuff like that. But the real focus in this workshop is integration with Twilio to eventually come up with this virtual voice agent. So what will happen is basically us as a user will be dialing a specific phone number on the mobile, and this will be connected to our, if you know the phone number that we are dialing will be connected to Twilio, and Twilio will be connected to the IBM services that we have.
Khalil?
Yes?
Hello, Khalil. Sorry to interrupt you. Can you
Yes.
zoom in a bit?
Yes. Actually, is this better?
Not yet for me. I think it's still loading.
Oh.
Yeah, the text is slightly blurry. It's
I
pixelated.
think this is from the resolution. I think
Yeah,
maybe this
it's
is
loading.
because
Yeah,
of this.
I think. Yeah, it's better now. It takes time to load, so I think it's better you slow down.
Yeah, I'll
Restart the
slow down
second one
on
again.
this. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It takes time to load.
No worries. Thank you. So yes, I was saying that us as a user, as a person, we will be dialing a specific phone number on the mobile that will be connected to Twilio, and Twilio will be communicating with with Watson Assistant, which by itself is connected to text-to-speech and speech-text. So mainly, the Twilio is making a communication of these three different services. So let's go ahead and get started with our workshop session. I hope everyone has already registered. And the first thing is you need to make sure to download this repository because we will need this file, the dialog-skill. So this will be our conversation that we'll be using inside our WhatsApp system. So make sure to download this, and we'll go straight ahead to our IBM Cloud. Now, the first time you sign into IBM Cloud, it will look like that. So this will be the main dashboard that we have, and we want to create our service right now. So we can click on Create Resource, which is this blue button up here. And for some reason, I'm having a very slow connection. Sweet. Okay. And in here, we can search for our service. Now, what we want to create is a Watson Assistant service. So we can either search for it right here, or we can click on Services, and we can go to AI Machine Learning. We will see our Watson Assistant. We can click on that. Okay. And most of our services have a light plan, so we can go ahead and choose the light plan. And we will choose our region. Usually choose the region that's closest to your current region right now for minimum delay latency between your place and the data center of IBM Cloud. So yeah, you can go ahead and click on trial, click on create, and that's it basically. You can give it, of course, a name so it can be identified when you want to search for the service, which we'll do right now. So once you've created this Watson Assistant service, you can go back to your IBM Cloud.
Khalil, your screen's loading. It's lagging a bit, so I think you could switch off your video to save up the bandwidth.
Yeah, okay, makes sense. Thanks for. I hope this would make things better. Okay. So now what we'll be doing is, this is our resources. So here we can find all the services that we have created. We can click on services, and here you'll be able to see your Watson Assistant service. So we can expand this. Now I have a lot of different services, but usually you will be able to see your service right there. And for example, in this case, I have all these different Watson Assistant service created here. So we can go ahead and click on the service, and this will redirect you to a new page only for Watson Assistant. And then you can click on launch, and this will launch the assistant platform. So we can go ahead and start creating our virtual chatbot. So this is where we click on launch Watson Assistant. Now I already have my assistant created. I'll go to it. And I'll wait a bit because I think there's a bit of lag. So I hope now the screen is visible. So this is the assistant. This is the main page of Watson Assistant mainly. Usually you will find your first assistant there. You can, of course, work with that, or even create your own from scratch. But let's go ahead and make one. Demo Tweel. You can give it a name, a description if you want. We can click on create. Now the assistant needs to have a dialogue, and what we'll do is we will add a dialogue skill. So we can either create one from scratch, but in this case, we want to upload a dialogue, and that's the dialogue that I ask you to download from the GitHub repository. So basically, you can just drag and drop it from here and just add it. Now, what will happen is once you add your dialogue, it will show you it will start by showing you the intents. So this is where we have all the intents of the specific dialogue, all the things that the user might ask. So for example, let's go ahead and check some of them. We have symptoms. So this is an intent about symptoms where a user can ask everything regarding the corona symptoms. So here, as a developer, you will start to ask what the user might ask. So in this case, he might ask, what are corona's main symptoms? What are the most common symptoms? Most common symptoms. The more examples we add, the more the assistant gets smarter. And usually we need to add at least 5 to make it work. But this is how it works. So we try to add as much as we can example. And the great thing here is that the assistant will be smart enough to understand these kind of examples. So you don't need to the user doesn't need to actually type the exact same thing, like what are corona symptoms. No, you can type anything related to this, and the assistant will be smart enough to recognize that what the user is asking is similar to that. So that's why it uses machine learning to keep continually learning from these examples. Another example is the test document. So for example, do I need to bring something with me for the screening, documents needed for testing, what documents are required for screenings, things like that. So this is how we define intents. And just like intents, we can define entities, but we will not be mainly using entities in this specific example. And now let's go to the dialog to show you how the nodes work. So these are our nodes, and this is our conversation flow. And let's say the way it works is basically we can define any node. So this is, for example, the test price. So here, as we said earlier, as every node needs a condition. So here, if the assistant recognizes the intent test cost, respond with that. So in this case, if the assistant recognizes any question regarding the test cost, like if the user was asking what is the price of the corona test, then we'll go to this. So the assistant will go to this node to understand that the user is asking about this intent, and we'll go and we'll check node by node where is this intent defined. So it's not in here because here we have test process. It's in here. So here we have test cost. So it will go there and it will move to this part. It will answer the user with the test cost $100. Another example will be like the test documents. So if you're asking about test document, the assistant will recognize that the user is asking about the test document, and it will search for this intent in these nodes. So it's right here. It will go and it will reply with that. So this is the way it works. Like we can do here a very kind of brief example on chatbots. If I say test price, as we see here, it understands that this is regarding the intent test cost. So this is the intent that got recognized, and then it will search for this in the nodes, which is here, the third one, and it will give us the response. So now let's go to the main part here, which is the integration with Twilio. Now to do that, you need to open Twilio, and you need to have an account. So you can either create one, or if you have one, you can simply sign in. And this is, let's go to the main page of Twilio. So in Twilio, you wait a bit. The way usually Twilio works is once you sign in, you can create a project, give it a name or anything you want, and then this is how it looks like. This will be the main dashboard. Now, the great thing about Twilio is that it will give you a trial number. Usually if you don't have one, you can simply there will be a button to click to, and Twilio will instantiate a trial number for you. In this case, this is my trial number, and this will be the number that we'll be using in our workshop. So what will happen is we need to link this Twilio service with our Watson Assistant. And to do that, we simply click on the all products and services. We have the three dots in here. And we will need to create what we call an SIP trunk. So we go to Elastic SIP trunking. Okay, and from here, we will need to go to trunks. All right, so now we need to create an SIP trunk. So you can simply just click on create new, give it a name. I already have mine create here. But let's go check it out because we need to define some stuff in this trunk that we just created. So this would be like the general page of this trunk, but where the main important thing is in origination. So we need to go to origination, and in here is going to ask about a URI. Now my URI is already defined here, but I'll tell you from where we can get this. So this URI is usually provided by Watson Assistant. So I'll go back to Watson Assistant to get this URI and so you can define it here. So let's go back. This is the assistant. If we go to the main page of where our assistants are, so in this case here, this is my first assistant. You can add an integration. So you can click on add integration. Usually we can integrate with many different stuff, but what we want to do here is a phone integration. So we'll click on phone. Click on this. Sorry about that because I have mine already instantiated. So this is the integration that I have. And here you'll see like this. This is where you will set up things. Now the first thing is that it will ask you about your phone number. So here we're going to put the phone number that was provided by Twilio, right? This is a trial number. So we can add this in here. And then we will need to add our speech capabilities. So we'll have to add the speech to text and the text to speech service. Now, the great thing here is all you have to do is just click on the button, and Watson Assistant here will automatically instantiate these services for you. And usually it might ask you for the region. So put the same region as a region that you have chose when you were creating the original Watson Assistant, because sometimes it can differ from language to language. So in case if you are, if you are focusing on Spain, maybe in this case you are going to get Spain instead of English. But here, because we were choosing US or London, sorry, and this can get English. So here we can choose the what kind of accent we want. Is it US or the Australian English or the Grand Britain English? It depends. And you will see that there is narrowband and broadband. So whenever we're working with phones, definitely go with narrowband. This is fine-tuned for the frequency through the phone channels. And then you will be able to choose your voice model. So we have different variety of models, different persons, both male and female. And you will see that we have different versions for each one of them. And usually the hard version is the better, because the old version will be a bit more robotic rather than human. So with the newer version, there is some new deep learning technologies added to make it a bit more human. So this is for our services, but again, the main thing here is to get our URI link to add it in the Twilio, and that's it. So if you scroll down, you will see your SIP uniform resource identifier, the URI right here. You can just simply copy this and go back to Twilio, and you define it we're in our SIP trunk. You will click on the add button here, you'll define it, and that's it. Now, last step here is we need to associate the number that we have to this SIP trunk, right? So you can see here numbers. If you click on numbers, this is where we can assign. So you'll simply add a new number, go with add an existing number, and you will be able to find your trial number. Now I already have my trial number associated in here, but that's it basically. So again, to make a small recap on what happened to Twilio, we went to SIP trunking and we went to trunks, and we wanted to create a trunk, right? So this is our trunk, which is named like that. The first thing is we need to go to origination to put our URI link, and after we have our origination, which is our URI link that we get from Watson Assistant, we go to numbers and we associate the number provided by Twilio to this SIP trunk. So this is all that we have done in Twilio. Now, if we go back to IBM Cloud, oops, not this one, it's here. What we did is we took the number from Twilio, we added in here, we created our speech, text, and text-to-speech services. And here there's nothing, there's just the URI that we took and put it in Twilio. And you save and exit, and that's it. So now, okay, save. We can test this. So I'll put my microphone near you so you can see how it works. So what will happen now, I'm on my phone number, on my mobile phone, sorry, and I'll be dialing the phone number that Twilio has provided. So again, if I go to my screen, I'll be calling this number because this number where our assistant is. Okay. So let me call, put on speaker.
Hello, how can I help you?
Hello, I want to ask you about the corona symptoms.
The most common symptoms of coronavirus are fever, tiredness, and dry cough.
What documents do I need for the test?
You need to bring your ID and your insurance card.
And what is the price of the test?
The test costs $100.
All right, thank you. So I hope that was clear. So this is basically like I just called the number that was provided on by Twilio. This was the assistant that was talking to me. It has this female voice because again we chose, I believe, from here it was. Oops, I lost it. I think it was Alyssa that was talking, and this is her name. But yeah, so this is how it works. It's very simple, very straightforward. We can simply by just doing a couple. There's no any kind of coding value. We just do some. We just clicks. It's just basic step of clicks. So we just assigned our Twilio number to Watson Assistant, and we took the URI from Watson Assistant and put in Twilio, and that's it basically. You will be able to have your virtual voice agent and you can talk to. So let me go back to my presentation and to give you a quick summary of what happened. So we have created our Watson Assistant service. We uploaded our dialogue there, and then we in the integration part where we did a phone integration, and here we created our speech to text and our text to speech services. And then what we did is we linked this assistant to Twilio through the phone number that we have from Twilio, and again through the endpoint, which is the one that was provided from Watson Assistant. So that's it for the workshop. Pretty straightforward. I hope it was useful for you. We want to feel free to ask any questions if you have. We'll answer all of them. But before closing the session, first of all, I want to remind you about Code for Code. Now, my colleague Mridul already talked about it. It's kind of this event where it's a hackathon where we can build some solutions that can be useful for our community. And usually we focus we're focusing on climate change, mainly on green consumption, clean water sustainability, and on zero hunger. So you can get started on the link, which has already been shared. So feel free to participate. There will be a reward of 200,000, and you will meet a lot of people, even investors. And in case you have the chance and you want, you can even build on top of the solution and be the lucky winner. So these are a couple of useful links. The first couple of two are basically our registration link. The first one is our registration link, and the second one is our hands-on asset that we used for the specific workshop. A very important thing is IBM Developer. This is a link where it will help you to enhance your skills. It has all the different content on all the different technologies. So you can find content on AI, data science, security, blockchain, or even microservices, and you'll see a lot of tutorials, videos, articles that can where you can learn from them. And lastly, we have our meetup link. So you can go ahead and follow us there. You'll be able to see all of our events that we're doing in this IBM web series. So feel free to check these out. And with that, we can conclude our session. We want to thank you all. These are our contact details. Mridul, you can please share them on the chat. You can reach us anytime. And of course, you can reach our special guest, our IBM champion, Rangana. And the most important thing here is this survey link. So please, if you can fill the survey to let us know what kind of topics are you interested in, or this will help us as well to see how we can improve. This is a very straightforward survey, like there's only 2 or 3 questions. As well, I believe Mridul will be sharing this in the chat. So that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and we'll make sure to answer you. I'll go to the where is it? Here. All right. So thank you, Mridul, for sharing the information. Regarding the presentation, you will so in the workshop resources, it's already there. There's a link that will be able it will direct you to the presentation. So all the resources are in the GitHub repository. Do we have any other questions? So yeah, so far we have this question. Yeah, and Mridul just shared now the event resources with the presentation and the call for code registration link. So in case no one has any more questions, we can end the session. And in case you have questions later on, you can always feel free to reach us at the specified contact details. And again, the session is recorded, so if you go to the same link, you'll be able to watch everything all over again. So yeah, that's it, I believe. They will be available all the time. Don't worry about this. So you can access these anytime. All right. Thank you, everyone. Hope this session was useful for you.